Let's make this beautiful beach bag. I'm using a white hot orange and a mod blue. It's a Bernard handcrafted cotton yarn with the size 5 crochet hook. And one more orange and another orange. Let's begin by making a slip knot. To do that, we'll wrap it around your 2 fingers, tuck it in the back, insert our crochet hook and pull. Now we're going to crochet our chain, and we should do about 35. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I chained up 36. So now I have to turn myself around. To do that, I need to add another 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and now I'm going to turn around. I'm going to do that by inserting my crochet hook into the 4th chain. We don't count the one that's here, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will be our 4th one right here. So we're going to do a double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, insert into our 4th chain, yarn over, pull through once. You should have 3 loops on. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through the remaining 2. This is called double crochet for those of you who are new. So we're going to do this again. Yarn over, insert into the next chain, yarn over, pull through once. You should have 3 on. Yarn over, pull through 2. You should have 2 on. Yarn over, pull through 2. So go ahead and do this double crochet all the way to the end of the chain. So I've come to the end of the row, and into my last stitch I want to put 5 double crochets. This is actually our slip stitch that we did. So let's do 5. So that's 1, 2, and if it comes looser, that's fine. You can tighten it after. So that's 3, 4, and one more. That'll take us to 5. Okay, so this is our slip stitch that we did, so you can tighten it if you want. And now what we want to do is we want to look for the first stitch, which is right here. If you look, you'll see your V's. So here's my first V. So I'm going to go under there and do my double crochet. And I'm going to carry on and do my double crochet all the way along the V's till I get to the other side. So when you're working on top here, you don't really have any V's, but you do have kind of crossover, and you want to go under those, right? So you want to hook under, so you always have the 2 on, and then you do your double crochet. Okay, so I've come to the end, and this is our little turnaround, so our little chain that we did for turnaround. So I'm going to leave that one alone, but this will be our last stitch. So I'm going to do this. Okay, and I want to go in here 5 times. That's 2. And that's 3. That's 4. And that's 5. Okay, so this was where we did our turnaround. So in here, I'm going to slip stitch to join. Okay, and that should give us our first batch, just our 2 rows. So at this point, what I want to do is I want to chain up 3. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to double crochet into the same stitch. So if you look at my chain, is right here. So I'm just going to go in here and double crochet twice, because the first one we're going to be slip stitching to join, right? So this is our first double crochet. So then I'm just going to carry on and do my double crochet all the way till I get to the other side. So I'm coming to the end, and as you can see, I've got 1 stitch here left, and I'm starting on my turn. And as I'm going through my turns, because we did 5 here, we want to double each. So into each one of our 5s, we're going to double crochet twice. So that's 10 total. as you can see here that I've done I double crochet twice into each of the 5, and I'm still not quite turn around. Because of that, I have to get one more. So I'm going to go to this one, the next crochet stitch, and I'm going to double crochet twice into the next one. So there, and that turned us around nicely and gave us a nice flat surface. So now we just go ahead and double crochet once into each V, all the way along the edge till you get to the other side. So I've come to the end of this row, and now I've come to where I did my 5 turnarounds. So I'm going to do double crochet twice into each of those 5. So I'll give us a total of 10. Just like we did on the other side. So that's 2. Okay, so I've done, I crocheted twice into each of the 5, and it brought me around, and they brought me to slip stitch here, and I'm gonna just slip stitch to join there, and that completes our bottom. And now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 3, and now we're going to be working, chain 3, and now we're going to be working on the outside rim and without it doing any increases around. So this will bring us up like this. Okay, so we're going to double crochet on the outside. So if you look at the V here, it's the V, we're just going to go in there and just do the outside loop. So all the way across, no increases or anything. So go ahead and double crochet all the way along. So I've come to end the row, and I'm going to slip stitch to join. So I'm going to do it right in where we chained up 3. I'm going to do it in the second chain and slip stitch to join. There we go. So now we're going to be crocheting in around, and I don't like to chain up 3 because it gives us too big of a gap, so we're just chaining up 2. So we're going to be chaining up 2, and we're going to crochet under the V in every single. So we go under the V in every single V all the way around. Okay, so I've come to the end of the row, and I'm just going to slip stitch to join, and we're going to chain 2. And now for the next row, keep going the same way under the V's all the way around till you get to the end. If you're like me, you will run out of on the 3rd row just before you reach the end, unfortunately, but these things happen. So now we have to join a new yarn to finish this little part. So we take our second ball of yarn, and we're going to join. The way to join it is we take the old yarn, we're going to yarn over just like we do a crochet. So yarn over and insert, but don't pull through. Okay, so we're going to take our new yarn, which is right here, and I'm going to just fold it like this. Going to fold it like this and insert it. Now I'm going to pull it through. I'm going to pick up my new yarn. And I'm going to just do my double crochet stitch. I'm going to finish it with a new yarn. So that's how you join the yarn. Now I have these 2 tails, one from the old, one for the new. And the way to do it is, first I'm going to just tighten it. I'm going to put them on top of my work and weave them in. Okay, and I know they're really long, so we're going to cut them once they're weaved in just a little bit. So let's yarn over and make sure that both these tails sit on top of your work. Okay, so just do your double crochet with them on top. Fine, so we'll just finish this row. And see how nicely they sit on top, and this way they weave in and you don't have to worry about any weaving in after the fact. It's all seamlessly. I've come to the end of my row, and before I slip stitch to join, which I would do normally, I'm going to change colors. So I'm going to go ahead and insert my crochet hook, and normally I'll just yarn over and slip stitch to join, but I'm changing colors. So I'm just going to take this orange, which putting it down here, and I'm going to take my white yarn. I'm going to take a piece like this and just fold it over. So it's kind of pinching off a little eye. I'm going to put that over my crochet hook and hold it tight. And I'm going to pull through both. So that's slip stitch to join. Okay, so now I'm going to take my orange yarn. I'm going to cut my orange yarn. So cut my orange yarn. So I'm going to take the tail of my white yarn and my orange yarn. I'm going to put it here underneath me. And I'm going to carry on and pick up my white yarn, and I'm going to chain 2. And I'm going to double crochet immediately into my next stitch. Double crochet into my next stitch. So let's do our double crochet. Okay, so now we're going to start a new pattern. But before you do, I want to show you what I do with the loose ends. Okay, so now the next stitch that we're doing is called a crisscross stitch. I love the stitch. It makes it a nice little, excess. So we skip the next one. So we look at our chain, our V here. So we skip this one and we go into this one. So we double crochet into the second. Okay, and now we track back and we go to the one we missed, which if you look, it's right beside it. So it's easy to tell. So double crochet into that, and you will be yarning it. You'll be yarning over from behind. There you go. And you pull through. So that's going to be our pattern. So again, we're going to skip. So this one, if you look at it, so you'll skip this one, you're going to go into this one. So you double crochet into this one. Okay, and then the next one, we're going to go back and we're going to double crochet into the space that we missed, which is right beside it. So we kind of cross over and we go from behind, yarn over and do our double crochet stitch. Okay, so that's our X's, and it makes a nice little X pattern. Okay, so carry on and do this till you get to the end of the row, and I'll show you how to do the second row. So make sure you always skip one, go into the next one, do your double crochet, and then reverse back and do the one that you missed, which is right beside it, and go from behind and do a double crochet. So I've come to the end of my row, so I'm going to slip stitch to join and chain 2. And now for the next 2 rows, I'm going to use the same crossover stitch or the X. Okay, so I've chained up 2, and I think I'm going to give it an extra chain. So chain up 3, just because we have a wide reach. So what we want to do is, if you look at this, you have your crossovers and you have your space, crossover and space. So what we want to do is we want to do a double crochet into the spaces. That should be, and that means we skip the one just above the post, right? So we're going to go double crochet into the space. And then we're going to go back and do a crossover into the one that's just about our post. So there should be a stitch there. Okay, and we do a double crochet just like we did before in the one below. Just it's a bit harder to see when it's white on white. Okay, so again, we look at this and we go to the next space, which is here. That means we skip this one just above the post, into the space. We're going to do our double crochet, and then we're going to go back and just above the post, that's where our stitch is. Remember, you're always doing under the V's. With a double crochet, it's always under the V's. Okay, so the next, again, and because you're stretching it kind of looks like it's a white thing, but if you remember, you always go, see this one is hooked on, right? So you always go to the space, go to the next space, just in there. So double crochet. And then in just above the post, under the V, you do your crossover stitch. So carry on and do that for this row, and then slip stitch to join and do another row. So a total of 3 rows, what we want. So I've come to the end of the row, and as you can tell, I don't know how many stitches you did, but I am kind of short of a stitch and I can't really quite do an X here. So I'm just going to do a double crochet in this one. So if you're in the same predicament, please do the same thing. Just do a 1 double crochet to get you to the total stitch count. And I'm going to slip stitch to join. And before I slip stitch to join, we are going to change yarn because we are on the 3rd row. So we did 3 rows of this, and now we're going to change to a blue. Okay, so before I do my slip stitch, I'm going to take my blue yarn, just like we did with the white, and we're going to take a little bit and we're going to pinch it off, and we're going to put my crochet hook in there, pick up my blue yarn, I'm going to slip stitch through both of those, and that's going to be our joining stitch. There we go. Now I'm going to take my blue and I'm going to cut it. Sorry, I'm going to take my white, not the blue. Blue is new. I'm going to take my white and I'm going to cut it. So here we go. Okay, so I'm taking my 2 ends now, my cut blue, my end of my blue and my cut white, and I'm going to put it inside. I'm going to make sure that it's tight, and I'm going to carry on with my blue yarn. I'm going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to do a double stitch right in there, right above this post. So double crochet right in above the post. So there we go, we join our yarn. So we're going to take this 2 end strands, so we're going to just double tie them, and just to give it that extra sturdiness. Okay, now we're ready to go ahead and continue. So for the next 3 rows, we're going to be doing the crossover stitch, the X stitch all the way around. So we're going to find our next hole, which is here, and we're going to go just above it, and we're going to do our double crochet in there. There we go. And then we're going to go back and do it just above the post, which is right here. And so on for the next 3 rows. So I've come to the end of the row, and I'm just going to slip stitch to join, because just like we did it before. So now we're going to be changing yarn. So before we actually pull it through, we're going to take our orange, because we're changing colors, just like we did before, and we're going to pinch it and take our eye and hook it on and pull it through both. So now I'm going to tighten it, and I'm going to go and cut my blue. So I'm going to take my blue short and my orange end, and I'm going to tuck them in here. I'm going to go ahead and pick up my new orange yarn and chain 2. So 1 and 2. So before I do my stitch, I'm going to pull both ends tight down here. Remember I said how we just weave them in, but right now, because it's a basket and we want it strong, we're going to tie it and then weave them in for that extra sturdiness. What we want to do is we want to do just an ordinary double crochet stitch. So going into our first, under our V right here, just do an ordinary double crochet. So under each V, double crochet, then slip stitch to join. And so I've come to the end of the row, and I'm just going to slip stitch to join, and I'm going to go ahead and chain 2, and I'm going to do 1 more row of my double crochet stitch. So we've come to the end of the row, and we're just going to slip stitch to join, but now we're going to be changing colors and do our shell stitch. So let's insert our crochet hook, and let's pick up our blue yarn. There's my blue yarn, and we're going to pinch off the top like that and pull it through both. Okay, and now let's cut our orange yarn. go. And let's pick up our new blue yarn, and we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Tie that over, and now let's pick up our blue, and we're just going to make sure that this is down. We're going to weave all this in later when we're done. So now we're going to carry on, and we're going to do our crochet, our shell stitch, because this is a slip stitch and we're going to be slip stitching to join. I'm going to single crochet into my next stitch. So into here I'm going to go and put in a single crochet. Okay, so now we're going to skip 2. So there's my V, so I go 1, 2, and into the third one I'm going to do a double crochet. So put my double crochet, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 5 times into the same stitch. This is my 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Okay, so there's my shell, and now I'm going to skip 2. So 1, 2 V's. If you look here, you can see the V's. 1, 2 V's, and into the third under the V I'm going to do a single crochet. Okay, so now I'm going to skip another 2. So 1, 2, and into my third one I'm going to do 5 double crochets. So I think you got the pattern. So that's our pattern till we get to the end of the row. So that's 2, and that's 3 and 4 and 5. Okay, so remember this is the pattern going all the way across. So that's how our shell is going to look like. Okay, so we're going to skip 2. If you look at the V's, 1, 2, and into the third V we do a single crochet. So we just insert our hook, pull through and pull through, and now we skip 2, 1, 2 V's, and into the third V we could do 5 double crochets. So that's the, so to come to the end of the row, and I'm just going to slip stitch to join. So there we go, and I'm going to chain 2, and I am going to go onto my first little hook here, and to do that I am going to skip, because if you look at my work, I know your work, you'll see I have an extra stitch here, and because I have an extra stitch I have to do a single crochet just to make it fit. Okay, you can do yours crochet there just because I had an extra stitch. And now I'm looking at this little shell, and our single crochet is always going to be at the very top. So we count our stitches of our shell. So we go 1, 2, and the third one, which is the very top, this is where we want to put our single crochet. So always under the V. Okay, so we do our single crochet there, and now we count down. So we go 2 stitches down our little shell. So now we reach the very bottom, and this was our, remember our single crochet we did? So this is the little bridge between the shells. So in here we do 5 double crochets. So we do our double crochets into the valleys and single crochets onto the peak, and it should always be 5 apart. So that's 2, and that's 3, and that's 4 and 5. Oops, which happens. Okay, so I got my shell now, so I'm going to count. So this is my previous shell, and again I'm counting 1, 2, and on the third one I do my single crochet. Okay, counting down the shell, 1, 2, and into the third one, which is right in our little valley under the V, we do a 5 double crochets. Okay, so that's our pattern all the way along, going the second row, third row. So you keep going and get your rows in. I'm going to do another 3. Good with 4 rows, so I'm going to carry on now and switch to my white. So I'm going to insert my crochet hook, grab my white yarn, which I've pinched off right here. So I'm just going to pinch it and change that to pull through all 2. I'm cutting my blue. Okay, and I'm just gonna chain up 2 of the white. I'm taking my blue and my white and I'm gonna pull it tight and do my knot to secure. Okay, so right in here I'm gonna just do a nice single crochet, and I got 1, 2, and on the third at the very top of my shell I'm doing my single crochet, and then carrying on, skipping 2 and into the valley, and here I am doing my 5 double. So the same pattern as we did before, we're going to carry on but with the white, and I'm going to do a 4 rows of white, and I'll come back and show you how to finish it off. And I've got enough here for my bag, so I'm going to finish it, and to do that we'll do like we always do by changing yarn, only this time we're going to pull through. I'll cut my yarn, I'm going to yarn over and pull through. So that finishes our bag. Now that I've finished my bag, I've turned it inside out. Okay, so now that I just cut my ends short. You didn't have to do that. You could have weaved them in, but I did the knot when I was doing this stuff, so I know that they're secure. So now I have my bag. I just have this top one. The top one here I will weave in along the side. To work on our strap, let's begin by making our slip knot the way we did it in the beginning. And let's chain up 10. So 1, 2, 3. So I've chained up 10, and now I'm going to do a single crochet into the second chain. So we don't count this one, so this is the first one, this is the second one. So we're going to insert in here, yarn over, pull through once, yarn over, pull through both 2. So single crochet all the way across. So insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both 2. Okay, so I've come to the end of the row, and this is my last slip stitch, so I'm going to do my single crochet in there as well, and now I'm going to pull this tight. Okay, so turning our work over, chain 1. So I've chained up 1, now I'm going to single crochet all the way under the V's for a total of 10, including the chain. When you get to the end of the row, simply turn it around, chain up 1, and carry on and do another 10. 1 under every V till you reach the desired length. And I'll let halfway through your strap, you're going to run out of yarn, so it's time to change. Always do it at the end of the row. So we're going to carry on and do our last stitch. We're going to insert a hook, but now we're going to take our new yarn like we've been doing, pinch off the little end, insert your hook, pull it through both. Okay, tighten, make sure to take your tail and tighten it. Okay, so turn your work around, pick up your new yarn, chain 1. So there's my 2 ends. Pull them tight like you've been doing all this time. Put your work down and tie them off. So I've come to the end of this row, and I think this is a good enough size strap for me. I measured it. You should measure yours. So mine is exactly 2.5 feet. If you'd like a longer one, do 3 feet, do 3.5 feet, or a shorter one. But instead of going this way, we're going to be going this way. Okay, so we're going to just slip stitch to join this one here. To turn us around, we're going to chain 1, and remember the slip stitch to join. This is the slip stitch, only we're not joining, we're just going to go straight in. You will not have a V. It is rough on this side, so you're going to have to find a stitch to do that. So just find the first stitch. It doesn't have to be over 2, 1 is fine. Just going to go in, and we're just going to pull through both. Okay, so just find the stitch. If you can't find 2, find 1, but just get it in there and slip stitch, and you want to go up about 5 inches. Okay, so I've slip stitched the top to about the size of my finger, or 3 inches. So now what we want to do is we want to fold this over like that, and we're going to be slip stitching along the top. Okay, so just make sure it's all folded, but it'll fold itself as you're doing this. Let's pick up a yarn, so just like we've been slip stitching the top, now we're going to do the top and the bottom. So you want to make sure that it's all even. Okay, you can count if you like, just to make sure you get the right rows. Okay, so find whatever space you can get from the top and the bottom and slip stitch through all of them. Okay, and carry on, moving on to the next one. So keep going all the way till you get to the end, and at the end leave the same 3 inches. So I've come to the end and I left 3 inches again at the end, so I'm going to show you how to finish this off. So all you have to do is cut your yarn, and then take this end and pull it through, and then tighten it. There you go. And then we're going to tuck this end in here. To do that, make sure I turn this inside out, and I want to make sure everything's aligned. All my little shells are at the top and my edges are here. Now I know that this width is about in centimeters, 3 centimeters. So I go here and I go 1.5, which is here, and 1.5 there. So all together make 3. So I know how to pinch it here. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so you want to just put it in between the markers. Then take a wide-eyed needle. So go ahead and thread your needle. And what I like to do when I'm pulling here, for extra knot, I just insert my needle through there and I pull. And this gives us this little ridge, and it gives us like an extra knot. Okay, so I finished sewing all the way around, and I'm gonna go see where the chain is. So I'm gonna go in there just for extra sturdiness. So I'm just gonna go back and forth through there, always getting the top of the chain under my V. Yarn is here, now I'm gonna finish it off, and I'll finish it off on the inside on the white, because you can't see my knot on the white. So I'm going to take it through here. Okay, pull it through once like that. I'm going to cut my yarn. Now I'm going to complete this on the other side. Bag right side out. And there's our finished product. If you like to put a button in it, you can just go ahead and put a button underneath. You can use any of these holes to button it up.